Hey guys and welcome to the new channel. And yes, if you somewhat are new, which you probably are, then I am a somewhat person who generally makes what if videos, though I do also do of course somewhat coding, and I've been coding for about 6 years, though I don't know much as about within those 6, maybe 5 somewhat years. I've generally been coding relatively the same, not pushing myself much into unknown territory. But hey, I somewhat thought that, well, I'm somewhat comfortable, of course, somewhat in what I know, and, why not, somewhat show what I know and also push the boundaries in what I know to educate somewhat use and also myself, as there's more than one way to do one thing after all. So I'm somewhat used to the Unity game engine, and so this is what somewhat we'll be going through. And so if somewhat the links in the description do actually work, as the channel is literally hours old of creating, of doing somewhat recording this, then there should be a link in the description which will take you to the Unity homepage, in where you can download Unity. It will actually probably take you to this place here. You don't really need Unity Pro or Enterprise, Industry. Enterprise/Industry. Don't need those for starting your first project, and generally, unless you're getting your first project or first public project, public meaning people can download it, well then you are going to need the Unity Pro license. But otherwise, unless your game unless your game makes less than 100,000, though I know they have somewhat changed that, and that will be changed in Unity 2024, so sometime next year, but to I think $200,000, or I think whatever it is in your currency maybe. But so if you're students, you can do that, or of course we're going to do personal. So get started and then download, though you can read some about here, minimum system requirements, or not minimum but your system. Even though it says a or at least graphics card with DirectX 10, I would suggest getting, or at least make sure your graphics card supports DirectX 11, preferably 11, though obviously DirectX 12 card is obviously perfectly fine as well. Unity does support DirectX 12, though it can be a bit finicky, so a bit of warning. But we won't be messing about with ray tracing and stuff like that, so we're not going to need DirectX 12, only 11. So yes, click then. So if you're on Windows, click there. I don't know where the others are. If I do, generally it's somewhat up there, but anyway, so just click there, though I don't need to download it. So once you've downloaded it and installed it and open it, it will look something like this, though with nothing, and maybe it will tell you what certain things are. So the first thing, if you're being blinded, you want to go to the gear preferences, and the first thing you probably want to jump to is appearance and change it from light to dark, or if it's on auto, again to dark, depending on your preference. You may want to be blinded if you're using that at night, though I don't, so I leave that at dark. And then projects. this is the, as it says, the default location to where it will download, or well, not download but make your projects. So you can see where mine, oops, didn't want to do that, where it's on to go. So there. Anyway, so you can choose obviously wherever, say desktop, you can make your own somewhat file. You know somewhat, you can see there Unity games, which just takes me to that exact file. So yeah. Anyway, so once you've chosen that, though, it will be in a default location, but if you want to move it about, you can. Yeah. Next up is installation. So it may have installed one, it may not have. I don't really remember if it does, but if it hasn't, then install editor, and you can click on one. I'll be using 2022.3.10 F1. Yeah, though, just to show you somewhat, but obviously, and if you like, but I don't have, something better, it doesn't, you didn't have that link. Well, I don't really need to provide it, as once you press install, the top one, Visual Studio, of course, it knows I've got it already, so it won't show up, but a tick box like some of these will appear. Just press that, and when you press install, it will install it. Download and then install, and then language stuff there. So yeah, I don't need to, as I've said. So back projects, new project, and so we're going to be doing sort 3D universal render pipeline. You can do just that, though. If you want stuff like ray tracing, that URP, no, you'd want that HDRP, high definition render pipeline. So that is, as I sort of said earlier, ray tracing and everything like that. URP is somewhat lightweight, so more for phones and tablets, iPads, stuff that isn't all that great, and it's also relatively somewhat simple in a way. So yeah, project name, I guess just project CT. There we go. So tutorial project, create, and it will create it one. It may, okay. So let me open up. So next question, well, at least somewhat mainly for me, will it crash or not? Unity, or at least for me, has a tendency to crash occasionally. So yeah, and it will take some time, so do be patient. And yeah, so just somewhat think about what you want to somewhat, of course, make. Though somewhat, I say first project, not first real kind of game, but project will be somewhat doing a simple kind of somewhat these somewhat dodge the block pretty much style of the game where you my computer crashed, so it blue screened, so I guess for me a somewhat note to not record when making a new project. So I have made this is my second time trying to record this, as the first time the project, of course, somewhat the one I sort of recorded, made with you guys, somewhat when it blue screen, it corrupted some files, so yes. I mean corrupted, I mean like it, like we're just lost, like there were sort of rendering layer, this wasn't here, this wasn't here. Yeah, like none of this, like all of this stuff was straight up just corrupted data. So yeah, not good. Anyway, so firstly we want to do shut Unity Hub. You don't need it open now. And yeah, so what are these things? Of course, hierarchy, everything that's in the current scene or game mode, I call it, or some prefer to reference it as that's what it sort of is. This is very much the game mode. Yeah, whoops. That's I'm not really sure. I think that's just your speed. So that's right mouse and then scroll wheel to change that. And yeah, so of course this is universal, and there's somewhat of course HDR is HDRP, high definition event pipeline. So hierarchy, everything in the screen, inspector, what is somewhat in or at least on the object. This is components, or at least everything on this is a component. So yeah. Anyway, from there we have project. So, and this is the assets folder, which is everything that's in your project. Meaning, if we move to the side, open that up, the top project, and as you can see, assets, everything like that's there. So let's say make a SKRIPT scripts. And it should appear. See, so everything you make in here will appear in that file. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, assets console, everything that will sort of affect, and sort of scene, and then game view, everything that your game, or at least what that camera sees. Also the nope, don't want that. That's for later on. Status, the sort just rather you some slight information. Then play, unforced, forced, and maximized. What that means is when you press play, unforced means when you're in the scene view, you press play, it won't force you into the game view. And forced, as I just said, it will force you into it. If you're in scene view, you hit start. Maximized, it will force you, it will sort of force you into it, and as well maximize the screen. Also, so you can move these anywhere you like. So if you somewhat want to see your game view and scene view at the same time, so be it. So you can do that. Moved around though, somewhat it's goes up to you. So you know how you do it. Just gonna move those into that. And it's gonna be recompile. Those certain scripts are potentially, well, no, they're all working just fine. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so let's add our first object. So I'm gonna right click on here and not. Yeah, you can't. Okay. Also, if you want to somewhat move the camera, right click and then hold right mouse button down, and then WASD. If you want to move faster, shift. And then So 3D object, 2D, 3D. We're in a 3-dimensional environment, so we want a 3-dimensional object. And cube. Oh, that's a blue cube. You want to reset the transform, or do what I generally do, which is just manually zero those out. And yeah. And then so you can move it about in all of 3 axes. And then Control C to undo. Clicking that will snap it to a the grid, which you can kind of see here. Those lines are a single meter, yes, meter across. Each position is a meter, which means each cube is a meter, which is 10 centimeters, I believe. So, yeah. So this is our cube, and we'll call it our floor. This will be the floor of our game or our project, and we're gonna make something that I'm very used to doing, which is a dodged block style. So do it 20, so we have some leeway to go side to side, and then let's do that 1000, which press F will allow you to focus on the object. Ooh. And as you can see, that's incredibly long. Wow, we don't start in the middle, that's only 500 to the other side. We only start at the other end. Well, don't need to, you just do position 500, and it's back to there. Click on camera, the F, and you'll be focused back. Also, let's just move that all the way up. And disabling that just simply changes it to dawn for unknown reasons. Emissions over. You want to make it, do it there, about there. Rendering shadows. Shadows after. Mess about that later on. So we've now got this, and that's on our floor. Well, what's the next one? Well, the next thing you want to do is decide on what character you want to do that. What character you want. Though before that, just as a quick mention, as some people may complain, hey, you didn't, show this or that. So a cube. Let's just call it test, as we're going to be getting rid of it. So test, and so we're going to drag this. So left, click and hold, and drag it down. That's great. This is now a prefab object. Prefab just means that whatever happens to this here will affect this object. So let's say add a body, or a rigid body, which pretty much means that it will allow the object to move in 3-dimensional space. Of course, if we click play, nothing will happen. Once it's done that, hopefully, there we go. Okay, we'll go back to that, and as you can see, nothing's happened to it because it's right at the edge, and the center of mass, that is in the middle, so it's not going to fall to one side. But we want it to fall. We want to see, what happens to it. Okay, just zero that out. And you could then do a thing, which is just messing about with that and watching it fall incredibly fast. And then, though, when you're in play mode, anything that you do is, of course, done when you stop. So don't try doing adding objects and that, and then find out when oh no, I'm pausing. So you unpause it, and minutes or hours of work can be gone. Granted, I've done that a couple of times, but I've never lost really anything important. I like onto that. Yeah. Well, say something in the game view, or at least let's move that up a bit and over. If we move that up and also over a bit more. So you can see it obviously blends in, and if we move that over slightly, we'll make another three-dimensional object, a sphere, a ball. Pretty much. Don't worry, I know scientific term is it's actually wrong here. It's sphere, but it's a ball. Damn it! And that's what I refer to as a ball on the box. And we'll just add another image body to that. And yeah, the next thing to note is what one do you want to use. If you use a ball, that's what I'm going to be using. Then you're fine to carry on. If you're going to use a box, then you're going to have to do one more thing. Well, you not necessarily have to, but if you don't, you're going to have it be tumbling through the ground. Because this and this have, of course, friction. So does the ball, but the ball is a sphere. It's round, so it will just roll. And if this tries to roll, of course, it's a box. And well, if you've kind of moved a box along, it tends to jump and sometimes slide, and then somewhat jump again as the sides dig into the ground and it flips over. So we don't want that. So create physical mesh, and then slide, and then you want to drag that onto that, and then the material, slide that, and then you want to zero that out. That will now mean this will be able to slide along the ground just fine, but of course I don't want that, because we're not going, well, for me, I'm not going to be using a box, but if you want to, you can. And yeah, so we're going to get rid of that, and also the prefab, yes, I am sure, and also that was just made, put that to there, move that back to there, and move it down. Though one more thing we want to do is, we don't need the same colour as the ground now, do we? Or as the floor. Also, layer, so we know that's player, and then just player to start off on. No, well, add tag, or let's just go back to that momentarily. As it says tags, this will be so much useful later on. Slightly later on, probably maybe in the next one. So if you want to, if you want, well, there's no floor there, or ground, well, add tag, list is empty, press that, and then floor, then click back to your object in the hierarchy, or just the of the object that's in the game view, and then floor. Also, one more thing I want to do is rename this. I generally work on say the main menu first, or the main menu scene, which is pretty much the play, new game, load game, continue, settings, quit, those. But for the sake of this, I'm not, and that'll be slightly further down. So this is going to be our potential level 1. So there's one more thing we want to do, and that's a material. So it's up to you. If you want it, you can leave it the same colour. So this is somewhat the material, and I'm just going to copy that, and we'll call this layer material, and make a folder called material. Drag that into there, and then drag that onto our player. I guess we can make one more, and floor material there, and so our floor is now white, bright white, blinding white. So we can go into base map, which is color, and we can change it from there, blue, pink, red. Well, this is more pink, that's pink. But yeah. We're just gonna somewhat have it white. Well, I guess not blinding white, but there. Also, somewhat smooth this is just the somewhat mirror. So if you crank both of these up, it's now a giant mirror. So I'll keep that like somewhat default, and we'll click on player, as this will better help you to understand what I mean by a mirror. If we crank both of those up, as you can see, it's a mirror. So, and just to show you that it pretty much is a mirror. 3D object, a cube. Obviously just spawned at 0, 0. As you can somewhat see, well, it's okay, maybe not. I guess not. Well, okay, maybe not quite. But yeah. Though, so gonna change it. I'm gonna have a green player. Or somewhat a green marble player. And yeah. So, though we want this somewhat to move, which means somewhat script. And yeah, hopefully somewhat, or at least before you launched your project, Visual Studio somewhat has installed. If it hasn't, you of course somewhat really want to wait and should probably close down your project and wait for that to fully install before you kind of mess about. And yeah, should have said that in the beginning, sorry. Kind of forgot to. So we want to add a component. You can either somewhat do it there, or somewhat, or go somewhat, click on your scripts folder if you made one, go to create and C# script. But I generally don't. I generally just click on the board, add component, and then start typing what we're going to call it. So player underscore, so underscore or dash underscore move MOVE MVND, and when you click on that, if you have something that shouldn't there, it will tell you the script name may only consist of A to Z, A to A dash C, A dash Z capital, 0 to 9, and then comma, underscore, and full stop. Oh no, can't. Oh no, there's a spoilers. And if you like, well, sometimes we could just have a gap in there. You can, though it may be slightly finicky. I say finicky as I have had it where the script won't open if you have a gap. Some Unity scripts will have gaps, some won't. I generally don't. And yeah, though if you want one, you can just somewhat use an underscore. And then so I'd click on that and edit, or you can double click on your script. Script there, double click it, and it will open. If I drag from over screen, Visual Studio. Firstly, we want to get a system.collections.generic and system collections. We don't need those. So that. And so double slash just means that it's no code, it's just normal text. So start. Yeah, so it's called before the frame, first frame update. And some of you probably like, well, what does that mean? It just means when the object that it's attached to, so what our player movement script is attached to, that when this loads in, so when nothing's there and it pops in, like that. When it first loads into it, it will then somewhat run through all the script will then go, hey, we've just appeared, and void start or trigger. It only triggers when the object appears or the scene starts or loads. And yeah, and then update is called every frame. So every time so if your screen, say, is 60 FPS or 60 Hertz, so FPS, frames per second, or pictures per second, how many pictures your screen displays every second that goes by. So every second your screen will display 60 pictures. Mine displays 120 or 120 Hertz. Yeah. So this will update 120 times a second. And yeah. And that is perfectly fine, and you should generally use that for movement. And there is another one called fixed update, which is a constant 60. And yeah, that's for something else, some stuff like if you want to hit like repeatable physics, then void fixed update will be what you want. If you're making like a car game, suspension and that, and you want it predictable physics. So the only thing that's different between, say, you and a bet player is your skill. Yeah. Anyway, so we're somewhat not going to really need void start. And yeah, also only if you're on a TV or that, you'll probably somewhat notice. So this is what I've got in my banner. For instance, void update, and then chan.text, which is a UI element. We'll get into that slightly later on in a different part. Though this is somewhat dragging on, so let's add our first text or script. So first we're going to do public game object, and you want to name it, so request player, and there's something else as well. So we want to do public rigid body, and then you could just call it RB. So then when we go to here, so we want to say move forward. Say when we press W, we want it to move forward. So if don't need that there, something like it like that. But if you just want it, in somewhat how I and probably most other people do it. But yeah, so if, and then input, which any device that, say, sends a signal into the computer is an input device. So input dot get, you don't want button, we don't want axis, we want key, and then input dot key. When something returns true while the user holds down the key. Well, we want that. The get key down is say like a pause menu when you press a button somewhat momentarily down and then back up. So you press it down quickly, that's what you want, and or up. So when you let a key up, it will go, hey, a script will trigger as well. So get key, and then another 2 brackets, and then we want to type key code dot, and then W. Now every time we press or hold W, this script or this line go, hey, computer, so if will go, well, if these conditions are met, do, and we're telling it to then what we want it to do. So we are now going to do, actually, well, we didn't need game object. I don't know why I put it there. So get rid of game object. Sorry. Sorry guys. So we want to do RB. So some of our rigid body dot add force, and then I'm going to do some of those, mainly because so much you want to know what axis is your character on. So Z, so we want a plus on the Z axis. So the first number X, Y and Z, see as we hover over that. Float is a floating point number, or in other words, a number in which can go 1 point. That is a float. And we want F again to go ahead. Remember, this isn't a string. A string is pretty much just that a long line of characters. Yeah. So 1 F, and you can see that. Hey, how comes it's like at 1.1, but the second you put an F there, it goes away. Again, it's somewhat a float. At 1, it's somewhat fine. But yeah. And one thing you can do as well. So you're like, well, that's good and all, but I don't want to have to open script every time I want to change the force of the forward momentum of of my character now. Well, you don't need to. You can do public float. As remember, this is a float. It's actually a vector 3. Vector 3 just means it takes in 3 numbers, an X, a Y and a Z. A float, yeah. That again is used further on when we get into more stuff like saving positions, rotations and that kind of stuff. So yeah, so float, and then we'll put player underscore movement and underscore I guess we'll just call it something like that, or at least you can call it that though. Player movement movement, and you can just do like that. Though you may see some people go equals 1, and yeah, that will just mean instead of the float being 0, it will immediately set it to 1. So do that, and then just do that as it's a float. You could do that, but let's say hey, if that updates, so if for you it updates 120 times a second, so someone say with a faster screen, while it will run, or at least a faster game. So if the game say running at 1,000 frames per second, and somebody else's is only running at 500, a measly 500, so the person will be twice as fast, or the force of 1 will be that but 1,000 times instead, whilst the other person will only be 500. So instead, to fix that, we do star and then time dot delta time. That just means the time, so the faster your computer generates a frame, it somewhat shrinks that movement time. So you mean that that person at 500 and that person at 1,000 FPS. The person at 1,000 will be moving the same speed as the person at 500 frames. So again, predictable, repeatable, somewhat, you know, movement lacking somewhat for a car, this would be useful. Or you can do fixed update, which then you can get rid of time.down to time, as that runs 60 no matter somewhat what. But again, if you start to let's say lagging, then time.down to time will indeed save you. Well, not really save you, but it will continue to add the force as the slower your computer takes to make a frame, the faster you will move. It seemingly would add more force, but you still be going the same speed as someone with 1000 FPS. So computer running at 10, someone at 1000, you're moving the same speed as the person with 1000, depending on skill, of course. So that we can see something like that. So you can either click on the rigid body and drag it down like that, or you can click on the little circle and then do player, so the object, or you can grab the object and then just put it there. So now when we go press and play, you can see, because again that's unfocused, so we're in the scene. Second we press W, it won't move because we've adding 0 force to it. If we do 1 now, right, we have to be in the game view for it to be in effect. You want to press enter, and as you can see, as I hold W, it will move forward. I let go and it will come to a stop eventually. And yeah, it will slow, it will come to a stop. So let's apply some drag to it and it will finally come to a stop. So let's add say 10 force. We fly back, press go to game, just do forced there, click on that and then press W, and you can see it's moving a lot slower now because we still don't have drag. But yeah, let go and it will slow down. Put 1 to that, and that's that. Yeah, and that's what we're going to be doing today, at least somewhere in this part. Tomorrow, yeah, and I'll probably be doing these somewhat daily, so if you somewhat. So yeah, in the next one will be somewhat, or at least add in so we can make it go side to side. You should be able to figure that out with just this single line. You should be able to make it go forward and side to side as well. And yeah, and also back if you want it to. And as I said, in the next one we'll have the camera, the main camera, follow that. So as this goes forward, in of course the game view, your camera or perspective, the third person view, so it will follow the character, and yeah, so we'll do that, and potentially also get into doing some objects in the way, so having to dodge and on impact. So we would have to say it goes, hey, you either got this either file, or it just resets you back to the beginning. Up to you on how you want to do that. But yeah, and just to save the entire project of what you've done up to this point, Control S to save. And also in the script, if you're like, yeah, but none of that stuff's appeared, you want to press Control S or File save. It will save it. So close out of that. And yeah, guys, hope this has somewhat helped you in starting your journey down game development. And yeah, so yeah, if you have enjoyed this, do say in the comments. And yeah, with that, hope you have a some nice day or night, depending on wherever you are, whenever you watch this, and good. Bye!